Although some note investors self-service their mortgage note portfolios, I wouldn't recommend it. Having a loan servicer on your team is critical and comes highly recommended for many reasons, starting with the RESPA process and onboarding your loans. At the very least, having another company looking over your shoulder as you get new assets that you've acquired onto their servicing portal can give you another set of eyes to make sure that you're not making any mistakes. Of course, you can't rely on them to do your due diligence for you, but it's nice to have another company involved in this initial process of sending RESPA letters to make sure the borrower is aware of the servicing transfer and getting all that data onboarded. And when you're doing that onboarding, accounting for the loan and making sure that that transfer goes smoothly is a really critical step that can be overlooked if you're trying to do it on your own. In fact, your best use case as a note investor is finding more deal flow, not doing the accounting and the numbers behind your deal in these initial onboarding stages, but making sure that you've got more deal flow coming in the pipeline. Next is mailing monthly statements and notices. Now, if you don't have a full-time employee who's receiving and sending mail on a day-to-day basis, having a loan servicer processing letters on the monthly basis with the statements, as well as the transfer letters when you're initially getting those loans onboarded, is a critical time-saving factor. I know when I'm working with borrowers in portfolio management, I like to communicate via the phone and email. When a borrower doesn't use the computer and they want to have documents mailed to them, it totally disrupts my workflow to have to get stamps and print things and package things up. Having a loan servicer to do that for you makes life a lot easier. Next is compliance and liability. It's really important that you make sure to stay above board here and by the book. And having a loan servicer on your team, as well as licensed attorneys and other counterparties to protect you and limit your own liability, is critical. Next, we've got escrow and forced place insurance. When you're working with mortgage notes that have vacant properties that are securing them, you want to make sure that you have forced place insurance in place. With most deals where there's a borrower in the subject property, they're paying for the insurance policies already. But when you have a vacant home, having that insurance forced place through a relationship with your servicer is much easier than aligning all of those contracts yourself. And the same with escrow accounts. Accounting and balancing an escrow balance if the loan servicer is making the tax payments on a property or holding funds to pay the insurance company in escrow. You don't want to have to deal with that. Having a loan servicer makes life much easier. And finally, streamlined loss mitigation. Now, there's many different strategies to go when you actually begin collecting on non-performing loans. And it's really difficult to trust your loan servicer to do all of your loss mitigation efforts for you. But by creating a hybrid approach where you've got either a third party or an internal team member doing the outbound contact with the borrower to create that initial resolution conversation and then teeing up that modification agreement or payoff for your loan servicer to put the paperwork in place for, makes your loss mitigation and collection process much easier. So having another member of the team as your loan servicer is such a critical step in the mortgage note investing process. I hope you learned something from this video. Leave a comment below if you have any questions at all.